Hi, readers. We are going to continue with a boy called Bat. We just finished chapter 16 where Bat wrote a letter to the professor from the university asking if he could keep keep the skunk at home, and Mr. Grayson was helping him type that letter. So now we are on chapter 17 called At the Clinic. Bat loved going to Mom's veterinary clinic. If it were up to him, he would go with her every time she had to work late instead of staying home with Janie. But Mom said that as much as she loved having Bat at work with her, all his questions sometimes kept the vet techs from doing their jobs. Bat tried not to ask so many questions, but there were so many interesting things to ask questions about. Today you can help Lawrence with baths, Mom told Bat as she drove him the 3 miles to the Saw Wet School to the small brick building marked Valerie Tam, DVM. That's his mom, Valerie Tam. Janie was always trying to get Mom to rename her veterinary clinic something else. Something fun, she said, something creative. So far, she had suggested the Furry Friends Clinic. Pause for a moment, veterinarian. Pause, P-A-W-S. Nose to tail and everything in between. And her favorite, the Paw-Spittle. But Bat liked seeing Mom's name on the side of the building. It was like she was a celebrity. I'm good at baths, Bat said. Yes, said Mom, you are. When he pulled open the heavy glass door at the front of the brick building, Bat was overwhelmed by smells and sounds. The lavender peppermint spray they used to clean up pet accidents, the wet dog scent of shampooing going on in the back room, barking, 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 a phone ringing, people talking, a cat's yowl. If there were this much ruckus at school or the playground or anywhere else at all, Bat would definitely need his earmuffs. But here the sounds and smells didn't bother him. Even the flickering of the fluorescent light didn't irritate him very much. Suzanne stood behind the counter running a lady's credit card through the machine with one hand while she answered the ringing phone with the other. Dr. Tam's office, she said, waving hello as Bat walked by. He waved back, but he didn't say anything because he didn't want to bother her. It used to be that he didn't notice people if they were busy with other things, but he was way better about that now. At least he usually was. An old lady, old like a grandmother, sat on the bench in the waiting room. She held a box in her lap. Bat stopped in front of her. What kind of animal do you have in that box? It's my cat Pickles, the lady said. He's not feeling 100%. What are his symptoms? Bat asked. Are you the veterinarian? The lady asked. No, said Bat, not yet. Ah, said the lady. Well, he has indigestion and he hasn't been very hungry lately. There were lots of things that could be. Bat looked up at his mom who stood next to him listening. She shrugged. I'll have to examine Pickles to know what's wrong. Then she turned to the lady. I'll see you and Pickles in just a minute or two. I hope Pickles feels better soon, Bat said. Then he followed Mom through the door that separated the waiting room from the back door and watched as she took off her white coat from its hook. She put it on, and then Mom was Dr. Tam, a veterinarian, better than a superhero. One day, Bat would also have a jacket just like Mom's. It would be white, and it would have 5 buttons, and it would have the words Dr. Tam, DVM, embroidered just above his heart. Of this, Bat was 99.9% sure, because that was as sure as you could be about anything. I've got to go see patients, Mom said. You stay close to Lawrence and be helpful, okay? Hey, Bat Boy, what's up? Lawrence was the only person who called him Bat Boy. Mom rescued a skunk kit, and we're raising it. She says we have to give him to a rescue in a month? Well, 3 weeks now, but I'm going to change her mind. We named him Thor, Bat said. Lawrence laughed. I know all about the kid, he said. Who do you think is taking care of him while you're in school? You are, said Bat. Are you doing a good job? Lawrence ruffled Bat's hair, and Bat smoothed it down again. Of course I'm doing a good job, Lawrence said. It's the only kind of job I know how to do. Look. He reached into the neck of his shirt and pulled out the strangest necklace Bat had ever seen. It was made of a t-shirt material and ended in a little pouch just big enough for cradling a skunk kit. Is Thor in there? Bat asked. Lawrence nodded. Yep. The little guy seemed kind of lonely in the kennel, so I made a sling for him out of one of my old t-shirts last night. See? Snug as a bug in a rug. Lawrence opened the pouch so Bat could see inside. There was Thor curled into a little sleeping ball. And there's Lawrence showing Bat that the skunk kit is inside of that sling. That's a good way to keep him nice and warm, isn't it? Can I wear him? Bat asked. Of course. We don't want to get him wet when I'm washing the dogs. Here. Very carefully, Lawrence pulled the sling up over his head and then lowered it over Bat's. But the sling, which had barely reached Lawrence's chest, sank all the way to Bat's belly button. We can fix that, said Lawrence, and he looped the fabric into a knot behind Bat's neck to shorten the sling. There, he said. Now you're a marsupial, Bat. There are no marsupial bats, Bat said. Marsupial infants need to have strong arms and claws to climb into their mother's pouch. Bats have wings. Bat peered into the pouch to see if Thor had been disturbed by the movement, but the kit was still fast asleep. He's got more fur than he had this morning, Bat said. I can see the black and white growing in. They grow up fast, Lawrence said. You seem bigger than the last time I saw you, too. Not you, said Bat, closing up the pouch and tucking it into his shirt. You're already all the way big. Lawrence grinned. If I get any bigger, I'll have to special order shoes. I already wear the biggest size the store sells. Good thing you're too old to grow, Bat said. Good thing indeed, Lawrence said. Then he said, Thor is a great name, Bat. Did you come up with it? No, said Bat. Janie did. You're a lucky kid to have such a creative sister. Did you thank her? No, said Bat, not yet. Well, there will be time for that later, Lawrence said. How about assisting me with some baths? Usually Bat would do just about anything to help Lawrence with baths. But now with Thor in the sling curled up in his sleep, I don't know, said Bat. Don't worry about the kit, Lawrence said. You can wear an apron, and I'll do all the soapy stuff. Lawrence draped a green apron around Bat's neck. Bat tried to make sure it wasn't pressing too tight against the sling as Lawrence tied the waist strap. All good? Lawrence asked. I can't tell if Thor is still breathing, Bat said. Maybe it's too tight. Lawrence untied the strap and Bat took off the apron. He pulled open the sling and peered inside. Imagine peering inside, looking inside that sling. There was Thor, still tightly curled into a ball, fast asleep. He's okay, Bat sighed. Lawrence patted Bat's shoulder. Maybe you can just keep me company today. How does that sound, Bat boy? Better, said Bat. I can supervise. Good idea, Lawrence said. You can tell me when I use too much soap. That's easy, said Bat, following Lawrence into the holding room where dogs waited in separate kennels for their bath. You always use too much soap. Bat climbed up on the counter across from the big silver wash basin and watched as Lawrence bent down to open the far kennel. He scooped up a shaggy white poodle who didn't look very happy for what was about to happen. You're okay, Jeff, Lawrence said. He was using his soothing voice, calm and deep. Jeff is a funny name for a poodle, Bat said. Well, Bat's a funny name for a kid, Lawrence answered, setting Jeff into the wash basin before smiling at Bat. Bat smiled back. Then Lawrence got to work, slipping Jeff's head into a restraint so he couldn't jump out of the tub, then turning on the faucet and running his hand under the water to check its temperature before he started spraying down the dog. That's a new restraint, isn't it? Bat asked. Good eye, Lawrence said. He shut off the water and began massaging shampoo into Jeff's curly pelt. The other one was getting rusty, so I ordered this new model. Is that a suction cup connecting to the wall? It sure is, said Lawrence, and a strong one, too. He grabbed hold of the rope and tugged on it to show Bat how well it was connected to the wall. But with a loud pop, the suction cup came free. Jeff didn't waste any time. With an excited yip, he scrambled over to the lip of the wash basin and leaped to the ground. Bubbles everywhere. Okay, did you make that a picture in your head? The dog, the white poodle, Jeff, jumped out of the wash basin and took off. Bubbles everywhere. He slipped and slid when he landed, his nails scraping across the linoleum floor. Lawrence reached down to grab him, but Jeff was too fast. He scrambled towards the door. There are Jeff's hands trying to grab the white poodle covered in bubbles. Bat pulled his legs up onto the counter and crossed them, one arm wrapping protectively around Thor in his sling. The air smelled warm and wet and like strawberry shampoo. Lawrence's fingers were inches away from Jeff when his heel found a puddle of soapy water. One moment he was standing, and the next moment he was flat on his back. "Are you okay?" Bat asked, but he didn't climb down from his perch. His first priority was keeping the kit safe and dry. "I've been better," Lawrence groaned. Jeff, who had discovered that the door was tightly closed, returned to peer down at Lawrence. He lowered his head and lovingly licked Lawrence's cheek with his long pink tongue. Don't dogs do that? They still want to come back and give you kisses even if they've been naughty. Chapter 18 is called Dinner Date. Wonder who's going to have a dinner date. Who do you think's going to go on a dinner date? Let's see. Maybe the best moment for the whole day was when Bat finally felt Thor rustle in the pouch that hung from around Bat's neck. Thor woke from his nap just when Lawrence was finishing the last bath, which was for an inky spaniel named Webster. Spaniel, a type of dog. "Lawrence," Bat said, "Thor is waking up." Bat pulled open the sling and gently extracted the kit from it, holding Thor's warm, wiggly body up to his cheek. The kid's nose twitched as he snuffed around. "Baby wants his milk," Lawrence said, and together they fed him. If Bat had his way, he would wear Thor in the sling all the time, but Mom made him take it off at bath time and bedtime. She was willing to compromise dinner. Oh, goodness, here he is. You see the sling around his neck? The skunk is in there as he is eating his dinner. Looks like spaghetti and meatballs. "Really, Bat, don't you think Thor would be more comfortable in his enclosure?" Mom said as she served out 3 platefuls of spaghetti and meatballs. "No," said Bat, "I really don't." Mom squinted her eyes tight. When she opened them, she said, "Okay, Thor can join us for dinner, as long as he stays in the sling." "I'll bet when he's older, though, Thor will love spaghetti and meatballs," Bat said happily, twirling a messy forkful of noodles. "Skunks eat everything, you know. They're omnivores. Omni means everything. Vor means one who eats." "We know, Bat," said Janie. "You already told us, like 100 times. "Don't you think it's interesting?" asked Bat. "Don't I think what is interesting?" "Everything," said Bat. "Everything there is to know about animals." "Not really," said Janie. "I think theater is way more interesting than animals." "That's stupid," said Bat, because it was. "Bat," said Mom in her warning voice, deep and serious with her eyebrows pointed toward her nose. "I'm sorry I said your interest is stupid," said Bat. He wasn't actually sorry because Janie's interest was stupid. Theater was pretend. Animals were real. But Mom had let him bring Thor to the dinner table, so Bat turned his mouth up into a smile and added, "Will you forgive me?" Mom liked it when he remembered to say that. "Whatever," said Janie. "Mom, did you make any garlic bread?" "Oh, it's in the oven. It's probably done," Mom said. Janie pushed back from the table, found an oven mitt in the drawer, and pulled the tray of bread out of the oven. It smelled wonderful. "Ezra once said that garlic is the best smell in the world, better even than roses," Janie said, putting the bread slices into a basket and bringing it to the table. "That Ezra is a character," Mom said. "He's pretty funny," Janie said. "He even makes our math teacher laugh, and she doesn't think anything is funny." "If she doesn't think anything is funny," Bat said, reaching across the table for a piece of bread, "then why does she laugh at Ezra? Is it mean laughing?" "No, Bat," said Janie. "She thinks Ezra is funny." "Then why did you say she doesn't think anything is funny?" "Never mind, Bat." So do you see how he misunderstood what Janie was saying? And she sounds like she's pretty out of patience with him tonight. To explain it a little bit further. Bat took a bite of the garlic bread. The crust was crusty, and the inside was hot and squishy. Melted butter glazed his fingers, which he licked one by one. They ate for a few minutes without talking. The only sounds, the crunch of biting into bread and the scraping noise of forks against the plates as they wound bites of spaghetti. Then Janie announced, "I've decided I'm going to audition for the Queen." "I thought you wanted to be Alice," Mom said. "Remember, she's auditioning for Alice in Wonderland, the play?" "That was before I read the script," Janie said. "Then I realized that Alice is boring. She just wanders around whining about everything." You'd be good at that, Bat said. You're good at whining. Mom, Janie whined. Make him stop. Bat, said Mom, that wasn't nice. But I said she'd make a good Alice, Bat said. But not for a good reason, Mom explained. What does the reason matter? I gave her a compliment. You think that's a compliment? Mom said, Janie, did it feel like a compliment to you? No, said Janie, it was an insult. You see, Bat, it wasn't a compliment to Janie. Suddenly, Bat wished he had been wearing his earmuffs, and he hadn't even heard Mom and Janie talking about the play. Sometimes it was just better if Bat kept his thoughts to himself. Bat ate a few more bites of his spaghetti and had almost finished all his bread when he felt Thor wriggling in his pouch. May I be excused? He asked. Yes, said Janie. Honey, you know it's up to you to model good behavior, Bat heard Mom say to Janie as he headed to the refrigerator to get out the puppy formula. Sometimes, Mom, even I'm not good enough of an actress to pretend not to notice when Bat is being weird. Oh, Janie, said Mom. Get out the formula, Bat told himself. Put some in the syringe. Warm it up. Ignore Janie. Bat knew that sometimes Janie thought he was weird, but he still didn't like to hear her say it out loud. Actually, Janie could be weird too, like when she sang at the top of her lungs in the shower, and even though there wasn't an audience. And how she cared if her hair was wavy or straight. Did Ezra ever think that Janie was weird? Maybe that's what makes Ezra her friend, Bat thought. He likes the parts of her that everyone else thinks are weird. And that, friends, is the end of chapter 18, and we're going to stop that today. See you next time.